What's up, everybody? Kyle Barboza here, bass player, music educator, and let's get some work done on some 16th note syncopation. So a couple things. We're going to run a bunch of exercises that involve 16th notes and 16th note syncopation. But in these little exercises, in the different parts, we're going to definitely settle into the groove. So we're going to be repeating rhythms like, 8, maybe sometimes 16 times in a row. So if you're just if you don't have your bass with you right now and you're just seeing what this video is about, I've got all the timestamps in the description. Go ahead and you can, skip around, check things out, and then you can come back with your bass if you don't have it with you now, and we can get it done. This is going to be an awesome, awesome exercise to kind of hone you in and tighten you up on some more funky rhythms so that when you're playing these in a groove, you are putting things right on the grid. So love this exercise. A lot of these exercises are going to go from less syncopated and really locking things in. And then we're going to start taking different 16th note subdivisions away to lock in the more syncopated rhythms. So, all right, without further ado, let's get it going. I'm going to get the backing track synced up and we're going to start here. Here we go. Okay, so this first rhythm is going to involve 4/16 and then a short quarter note. So 1 E and a 2, 3 and 4. 1 E and a 2, 3 and 4. Da ga da ga da. Okay, and you'll notice that we've got to land that quarter note right with the snare drum. Okay, 3, 4. Da ga da ga pa. Okay. All right, so that's what we're looking to line up with the snare drum. Here we go. Let's settle it in. We're going to start on a D. All right, this whole exercise is on a D7 chord. All right, here we go. On the D, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, ga 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 ga, and 1 E and a 2, and 3 and 4, and 1 E and a 2, and 3 and 4, and 1 E and a 2, and lock it in, even 16th notes. Super even, right? Lock in with the hi-hat, be listening to the drums, lock in with the snare especially. Couple more times. 3 more. Then we're going to add the octave in. Okay, we're going to hit the octave D on the beat too, with the snare. One more time. Now, if you want to add some different combinations of the root and octave, now that you're starting to lock in, go ahead. All right, you can go 4, or, okay, but if you do any of these variations, make sure you're locking in. So choose one, settle in on it, and lock in. This is the most important exercise of this whole workout, because we got to lock in each of those syncopated, each of those subdivisions, okay? Okay, couple more, and then we'll move on to the next one. 2 more. Okay, that's the warm-up round. Let's start taking some things away and really getting syncopated and funky. Okay. So all I did now was get rid of that short quarter note on beat 2. Okay, so now the snare is going to be hitting by itself. It's going to pop right after these 4/16 notes. Dugga dugga. So us and the drummer are now one continuous instrument, right? Dugga dugga. We're leading right into that snare drum, and we got to make sure to leave space for that snare drum. So even 16th notes, space for the snare drum, so make sure you stop the string. Oop. Right? Pop. Stop the string right on that snare hit. Here we go. This is where it gets funky. Here we go. And for the snare. Right, are you leading into the snare? That's the question. My finger is lifting off the neck, off the string, and touching the string to stop it right where the snare hits. See, I'll exaggerate with it. Check it out. Okay, now when I take that noise away, leaving space for that snare. Okay, one more time, and then we'll throw the octave in. Here we go. So funky. One E and up. Leave space for the snare. One E and up. Okay, stay on the root note if you're not ready for this. Make sure it's locking in. I'm just gonna go to the octave now. Ready? Okay, a couple more, 4 more. You can combo it. Okay, different combinations to kind of get your fingers moving. But all along, leaving space for that snare. Us and the drummer have to be one unit, has to be one instrument, basically. All right, if we're not one instrument with the drummer, then we can't really become one with the band. So in all of these exercises, we're really focusing in on the drums, focusing in on the bass drum, the snare drum, the hi-hat. Are we matching our sound with the drummer sound? Okay? All right, let's do another one. Okay, so before I write this one out, I just want to put this little tie here on these 2 16th notes. Here's what we're going to do. We're actually going to be turning these 2 16th notes into an eighth note because 2 16th notes together make an eighth note. But essentially, really what we're doing is we're still feeling that subdivision, that taka, 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 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. We're just going to hold this first note now through 1 and E, right? 1 E. Ta 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 ta, 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a ta 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 ta. Okay? Ta ta ta. All right, so let me just alter it. Okay, so now the 2 16ths tied together become an eighth note. We got 1 and a, right? Still leaving room for the snare on beat 2. 1 and a pop. 1 and a pop. Okay, here we go. This one's going to sound super funky when we start getting the root and the octave in there. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, ready, and 1 and a 2, 3, 4, da 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 da. 1 and a 2, 1 E and a 2, 3. Right, the 1 E's still there. 1 E and a 2, 3. We're just holding a note through. 1 and a 2, 3. 2 more. I'm going to start adding the octave. Lock it in. Super funky. I'm really listening for that. There's a tambourine in there going. Super trying to match up with that. 3 more. Okay, cool. Fun, ain't it? All right, now we're going for something much more funky, a little more syncopated. We're going to do the final variation of kind of these 4 16th notes. Here we go. Okay, so now I'm going to erase the and I'm just going to leave us with the downbeat, beat 1, and the of 1. All right? Love this rhythm. Check it out. When it's written out, because this eighth note is now going to be taking up 1 E and we're leaving let me write that down. 1 E and then that last 16th is on right? So this note has to take up 3 16th notes. So what I do is I'm going to write a dotted 8th note, which takes up 3 16th notes. And then I'm going to have this 16th note on the end with a little flag on it. The little flag that points this way lets me know that it's on the of the beat. Okay, so that's a little shortcut when you're reading music or reading rhythms. When you see a flag that's pointed backwards attached to a 16th note like this, it's on the of the beat. All right? Okay. Here we go. Okay, again, we got to leave room for the snare. The snare's here. Here we go. 1, So, 1 E and 1 E and All right, we got to hit that 1 E and 3. 1 E and 1 E and 1 E and 1 E and Okay, without me counting now. Count in your head. 1 E and Count out loud if you need to. In fact, I really encourage that. But at least be counting in your head. 1 E and 1 E and All right, let's put the octave. Woo. A little slide. 1 E and 1 E and Leave room for the snare. Here, I'm anticipating the snare. Okay, one more. I could stay on that one for all day. Love that one. Okay, so let me quickly explain this next one. Remember I talked about these little flags when we bracket 16th notes together. If you have a flag pointing backwards on the last note, it's on the right? So likewise, we've got this last 16th note on the but here we've got a flag pointing forward on the first note. What that tells you is that you've got a 16th note on the beginning. So this first note is a 16th note. So this next note is on the E of the beat. So 1 E. All right, so that flag pointing forward tells us that this first note is a 16th note, which means that the next note would have to be on the E of the beat. 1 E and right? 1 E and I've got the and in parentheses because the and still exists, right? We're just playing this second note through the E and the and. So it's going to go like this. 1 E and okay? And then we're going to hit with the snare again, kind of to scaffold this rhythm, because this one's going to get really, really syncopated really fast. Okay, so 1 E and 2. Okay, 1 E and 2. 1 E and 2. Ta ka ta ka ta. Okay, here we go. One E and 2. 3, 4. 1 E and 2. All right, here we go. 1 E and 2. And 1 E 2. 1 E and 2. Listen again. Make sure that last one nails that snare. One more. Add in the octave now. Anywhere you see fit. Okay, I'm going to add it on the last note to start. Mix in a couple other examples. Okay. 1 E and 2. 3, 4. 1 E and 2. 1 Landed on the grid. 1 E, a 2, ready, and next one. Okay, here we go. We're gonna go pretty quick here. Taking away the snare hit, right? We're gonna leave the snare by itself now. I like to call this rhythm the sneeze rhythm. Check it out. Because beat 2 is still there. Oops. Beat 2 is still there. I'm just going to say it quietly. Check it out. 1 E, a 2, 3. Sounds like I'm sneezing. 1 E, a 2, 3, 4. 1 E, a 2, 3, 4. Now when I take that beat 2 away completely, check out how funky it is. Ready? 2, 3, 4. 1 E, a. 1 E and a. Okay? 1 E and a. 1 E, a. 3, 4. 1 E, a. And that snare hit is going to be by itself. We're leaving space for it. We're putting everything right on that grid, leaving space for the snare. Last one for the day. This one's super, super funky if you can lock it in. I'll show you one variation for it in terms of the articulation in a minute. But 1 E, a 2. Leave room for the snare. 1 E and a 2. Put the octave in it if you're ready. Okay, now a little variation, real quick, and then we're going to spend some more time on this and lock it in. But if you want, drop my marker. If you want, put a little staccato marking under that second one to make it short. So instead of da-da-da, it's going to be da-da-da, 1 E, a 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2, 3, 4. Makes it super funky. Here we go. 1 E, a 2, ready. 1 E, a 2, 1 E, a 2. Listening to those drums. Okay, you can go to the long note again without the staccato if you need to. And I'm stopping my string with the snare. Stopping right on the snare. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but so you can hear it. 3. But leaving space for that snare. Couple more times. 3 more. All right, so there you have it. There you have it. That's the little workout here. Just using, I mean, honestly, you get a lot out of just using one beat rhythms, right? There's not a ton of information here. We're just using the 4/16 notes from the downbeat. But really what I'm doing, like if we were working one-on-one, okay, and I was working with you on these syncopations, what I'm trying to do for you is by putting the downbeat here and also by playing the 1 E and a 2, I started there because there's no syncopation there. It's just us establishing an even 16th note and kind of creating some guidelines, because those 16th notes have to exist all the time in here when you're playing a groove. Even if you're not really consciously thinking about it, I've always kind of got that taka 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 running in the back of my head, and all of my notes match up on that grid, right? So as we took things away, those 16th notes still exist in the groove. A lot of times you're going to hear them in the drums. You could hear them in that tambourine part. Chaka, 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 cha. Right? They exist in the groove. We still have to be conscious of them, but we're just controlling where we play on that grid. Does that make sense? So that's kind of the method to my madness for this workout. There's so much more that we could do with this. We could start adding combinations of different ones on, utilizing all the other beats and things like that. There's so much you can do with this, but I think this is just a great place to start. And yeah, hopefully if you guys played through this, you feel a little more locked into the drums. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this. Hey, you might not be ready for 16th note syncopation at this point. You might be more ready for 8th note syncopation, or just playing your 8th notes and locking that in. So keep that in mind. This might not be where you're at this point. That's okay. That's okay. Stick to the more basic stuff, the 8th note stuff. Guess what? This is just faster 8th notes. That's what 16th notes are. They're just twice as fast as 8th notes, but you can think of them kind of in the same way. So don't sweat it if you're not really locking this in yet. This is more, this is more for intermediate kind of students. But let me know in the comments if you do feel more locked in by just running an exercise like this. All right? And all that being said, hey, just a little housekeeping here, quick. I've been running my private lessons. I've got 30 students booked right now, and it has been a blast. And I'm full up at this point. I'm really happy to say my schedule is full between the bass lessons I'm teaching and the vocal lessons I've been doing. But more on that later if that's something you're interested in. I'm actually training as a voice coach right now, which I'm super stoked about. I love vocals. I love the voice and everything like that. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. This is a bass channel. But just to let you know, I'm packed right now in terms of my schedule with students. But if you're interested in private lessons with me, one-on-one, for working on things like this, locking your groove in, learning how to be creative with bass lines, learning how to read music. I'm working on that with a bunch of my students. Learning music theory, ear training, bass improvisation, jazz, rock, everything bass. I'm doing a little of everything between all of my students. If you're interested, get on my wait list. People cancel lessons every once in a while. When lessons are canceled, I go to my wait list and I ask people, hey, can you meet Thursday at this time? That's a great opportunity for us to kind of get together, have a lesson together, and start working. Start actually like getting you on the right path in your practice. So anyway, even though I'm full, email me. My email's in the description. I'd love to get back to you. I offer a free consultation with my lessons. So as soon as we kind of get the conversation going, we'll get together for a consultation and talk about how I can help you reach your goals as a bass player. Man, I got to say, I'm just going to say quickly before I go, the private lesson thing, the one-on-one work, this is really what I'm all about. I love this YouTube channel. I love engaging with lots of people through YouTube. I am a YouTube addict. I feel like everything I learn from YouTube now, and I love it. I love it. But there is nothing that can replace the one-on-one teaching between me and a student. So it's a lot. All that is to say, like, if you're at all interested and you want to get together for a consultation, hit me up. My email's in the description. I'll answer any of your questions. Let me know, because I am having an absolute blast with my one-on-one clients. It's been awesome. Like, I cannot overstate that. So anyway, all right, guys. Yeah. I'll talk to you guys on the next one. I hope you got a lot out of this. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys very soon. All right, take care.